Katie. So Katie is with us in the flesh tonight, and we are really excited about seeing you guys. And yeah, so we're pumped. So as we get the YouTube going, we will just wait for a second. I'm going to check one thing. Katie, is it live?
Yep.
The YouTube says off on the thing. It's not popping up. That was a good start, though. All right, guys, welcome to Whip Finish Wednesday. It is Wednesday night, and we are really excited for a fun night of time. My name is John DeMuth, and my wife is right over here. She's got a little surprise for you. Oh,
Hi.
surprise! Here she is. We are so excited to have everyone on with us tonight, and can't wait to tie some stubby chubbies. So, with that said, we're going to wait for just a second and see when people hop on. And Katie, are we on?
Mike Phillips says we can hear you on the tube.
Okay, Mike Phillips. I am glad to hear it because my thing over here is being quirky, so I can't see the comments. So I might get Katie to come over and do it. But so we're really excited because Katie's going to be able to hop on and you can ask her questions as well. And we're going to be doing a quick giveaway. The winner tonight, we had over 22 people that tied the
Salvation.
Thank you, honey. The Salvation Ants tonight. And we had one guy said he caught over 35 fish with it. We had multiple people tell me that they caught fish over the weekend with the fly, but
We caught fish over the weekend with the fly.
we did catch a few fish over the weekend on that specific fly. But one of the really cool things is, and really why we're doing this, is we had one individual that posted her flies, and this was the first fly that she had ever tied. So that is so awesome that we got someone that posted first fly. We had a fly from Australia, and we had a fly from Italy. So really cool stuff. So I'm going to hop over here on my side and let Katie do the drawing real quick. And
Great. Let's get to it. So we have a drawing tonight for the winner of the person who tied up their version of Salvation Ant. And I'm going to pull out my Uncle hat here and draw a name. Let's see who the big winner is this week. And the prize this week is from Gary Barnes. It's a $25 gift certificate for Gary Barnes. And let's see who has won this week. Make sure I just get one piece of paper. Okay, our big winner this week is Chris Trovato.
All right, Chris. That's super cool. And let's go ahead and go live.
Congratulations. Yay. You're the big winner this week.
All right. So now that we're congratulations to Chris. What was the last name, honey?
Trovato.
Chris Trovato on the drawing tonight for the $25 gift card to Gary Barnes and for the half a dozen flies of Gary's original Salvation Ant. So that is really cool. So each time we're getting a little better. Hello, Langley. It's good to see you hopping on. Switch over to the old YouTube, and we'll be able to see you a little bit more. You'll be able to see us a little bit more as well. We just turned the Instagram on, so all of you all on YouTube, thank you so much. So, like I said, we're going to tie a Salvation Ant. Really fun pattern. We've got one in the vise here. I've got a handful of them here. They're really. If I'm the only, I'd be shocked if I'm the only one who's done this. But how many of you all have been out on the water and you're indicator fishing and a fish comes up and hits your indicator, and that is that. Hey, Katie, will you look at this one too? Some of that. Katie's awesome. And a fish comes up and hit your indicator like, dadgummit. So that, in hindsight, is a perfect time to, what's up, Fly, for you? Perfect time to have a chubby on. Chubbies are very, very floaty, and they work well as just general attractor pattern. They can work as a terrestrial, just have an all around fly that that is great for a dry dropper. So if you're throwing heavier droppers, but there's a bunch of videos out there on chubbies, and a lot of you guys have always tied chubbies. So we're going to throw a few different twists in there, and we're going to, as opposed to tying a standard chubby, we're going to tie a stubby chubby, not just a chubby Chernobyl. And one of the reasons that I wanted to tie this fly is because of this guy right here. Just a regular old size 12, 10 chubbies. Now, here in East Tennessee, we tie them quite a bit smaller than out west. But I went fishing. Katie and I went about 2 months ago, and we went to Orvis Store, and we're talking to them. And I didn't have any chubbies on me, so this is the last fly that I've bought and since then, and probably the first fly I bought in quite a while. And I just felt awful buying a chubby, so I was like, well, I'm not going to be without chubbies anymore. So here's the one that here's one of the 3 or 4 that I bought. And as a side note, our buddy at Orvis likes to call these butterflies. So with that said, thank you, Fly for you, for buying that badge. And Katie's over playing with my computer to get the YouTube going on that. So if she's ignored your comments, she'll get with you in just a second. So we're going to use 2 hooks here this evening. Both of them are going to be the Stubby T, which is this guy right here and this guy right here. This is the Umpqua XT050 Stubby T. We're going to be doing it in the size 12 for a standard chubby, Stubby Chubby. And we're also going to do a size 14 or size 16. That's right, Rod Mama. It is that time. And while I'm getting a size, we'll start with a size 12. Do a big one first. While I'm getting this thing loaded in the vise. If you all are watching on Instagram, I would highly suggest looking over on YouTube, because it's going to be a little bit better quality video. And we've got multiple cameras, and Katie's got a camera, and that was kind of that was one of the surprises we were going to do. We have got a 4th camera for her, but then we realized about an hour ago that we needed another thing. So right now,
well, to be specific, a GoPro requires a mod in order to hook it up to HDMI to stream with.
Right. So
I don't have the mod.
So if you can hear that, we need to get another mod, which is another $100. So that'll be here next week. So we'll be able to use a fancy camera. But we're using her phone, so you'll still be able to see her occasionally. So for the thread I'm using on these smaller ones is going to be the 12-aught Semperfli Classic Wax thread, and Olive Done, just kind of an all-purpose color. And there's a few tricks to this. Thank you, Sweary Angler, for switching over. I'm going to pull out my spectacles so I can see just a little bit. So we're going to load this up here right by the hook eye. Now, if you'll notice right where I'm starting, I'll reach over here and try to zoom in a bit on the Instagram. There we go. If that stays focused, I won't put this back plate up, but if not, well, you know what? You won't be able to see it better like that anyway. Okay, so when we start the fly, we're going to come right behind the hook eye. But if you notice right here, I left just a little bit of blank hook eye, because that's where my head's going to be, and this fly is extremely easy to rush the head. So pop our thread off. We're going to do a nice little thread base all the way to the back, and then open spirals back up to the front. So pretty easy, no problem. Now we're going to get 2 things, and you can use one or the other, doesn't matter, or both, and we're going to do both. So a lot of patterns will have Glow Bright yarn on them, which is totally cool. We're going to use the Floor Bright because I feel like it's a touch brighter, but I've got extra and I like this material and it's easy to tie in. It doesn't fray quite as much until you want it to. And yeah. So all I'm going to do is get a small piece right here.
Nan said that she tied an army of Salvation ants too.
Ooh, and she said she did good. She posted a nice video today, and she said that she did really well with the ants. So that's really cool. On the lake in her video. So it's 3¼ inches long. I'm gonna fold it over, line up the tips, and cut it. And I'm gonna fold it over one, and then that's it. Sorry. I'm gonna grab the thread just like this. What's up, Tim, Mr. Trout and Feather? I figured you'd be watching on YouTube. Now we're just gonna bring the thread back, all the way back to where we started it. Right to there. See, good. I'll bring it back forward. So we've got that nice thread base there, and we've got our hot spot here. So now I'm going to take my scissors and just go straight up against the hook bend. Now, if you notice on this fly or on this hook, this is a short shank hook with an extra wide gap. So this is going to be shorter than your standard chubby hook, because usually people are using an extra long hook, 1X, 2X, sometimes a 3X long hook. So you don't have a lot of real estate here, but where you lack in here, you've got a lot bigger gap. So we can put a lot fatter fly that normally on a size 16, your hook gap's not going to be big enough to put that size of fly on. Yeah, that makes sense. So I'm just going to, just for half a second, take that and hit it just like that. You can see I've got a really nice little hot spot for the tag. And now I'm going to pull some crystal flash out. This is root beer. And I'm taking, on this size 12, I'm going to take 2 strands. And on the size 16, I'm going to use 1 strand. So I'm going to try to somewhat get it lined up. Oh boy, that's a mess, isn't it? Pull it that way, pull it that way. Now we're good. So I have 4 total strands. I'm going to do the exact same thing. Just hold it like so. Pinch it around. Bring it down. Make sure it's on the top of the hook shank. Like so. And if you remember the very beginning where we started the thread, I left just a little bit of twist up my thread. It's getting a little too flat. One more. I left just a little bit of bare hook shank right at the eye. And you see I've still got that. So that's where, I mean, think about how big when we finish the fly, how much space we need for a whip finish and everything. If all my material came to the front, I'd really crowd that eye. So I've got my tag, and this is just the orange, just a hot spot. This is going to extend, well, I could extend just barely past the foam. So I try to roughly cut it to where when it comes back, it's about a little over twice the length of the hot spot there. So you see I've got that there. So roughly, what's that, about the hook shank? No big deal. Okay, so this is another slight change that I do. When you look at these flies, the commercial one here is pretty much tied with ice stub. This is supposed to be a floaty fly. Ice stub is not the best. Hey, Done and Done. It has been a while. Hey, guys, the Dunn brothers, come check us out. We're live on YouTube as well. If you want to come and see a little bit better quality, that would be awesome. And normally we're good at chatting on YouTube. But right now, Katie she's a network manager, IT director right now. So normally people use iStub, which is totally fine. Totally works, no problem. But I like mixing up some. So I've got a little bit of this. This is just zipper fly, fine natural dubbing. Yeah, fine natural dubbing. And I'm going to use this light olive, not fluorescent. I'm going to use that light olive. And I just pull off a nice little clump of it. And then I'm going to pull out some ice dub. And I've got my color. The Starling color is really good. And it'll probably be the last bag that I pick up. So I had it sitting out, but not so much now. There we go. So here is the Starling eye stub right here. So you can see that it's kind of like a peacock, a little bit of blue in it. It's really, really cool. But when I pull this out, I don't need much, but see how long the fibers are and how thin they are? That's what we're looking for. Okay, so now I'm going to take the a little chunk of dubbing, just set it down for a second. I'm going to take my the eye stub and just break it in half. Put it on top of the dubbing, grab my dubbing thing, put them all together. So I've got all that together, and now just kind of mix it a little bit, and we have a nice little dubbing ball there. I did forget you will probably have to mute that, which I think is F2 is a volume. Okay, so now we've got our nice little mix of dubbing here. I'm gonna take just a pinch of it off, so you can see how it all kind of stays together. Just grab that and just pull a pinch of it off. It breaks really easily, and I just need one little noodle. It's not too big there. Maybe just a touch more, because all I want to do now. Remember, this is a short shanked hook, so I don't have a lot of room to play with. One of the mistakes that I see people will make is they will put their foam too far back right here. Okay, they put their foam too far back, so when the fly's done, the foam is going down against the hook shank, and okay, so now I can see everyone chatting. James Wilson, Jeff, Freddie. What's up, Freddie? Michael Ragzell, 101 subscribers. Heck yeah, we've got Katie will talk about a giveaway here in a few minutes. Nathaniel, Nate, fly for you. Awesome. I had one of your stickers on. There's a stick. One of your stickers is, hey.
I love the stickers.
Look at that. Fly for you. It'll make your day.
That's some awesome stickers.
Yep. So I've got
them some awesome stickers.
Got it on my cup here.
Cedarville.
So, all right. I have to go get the stuff to make this. I don't have anything I need. Tell me about it. It's always if I should be in your area in the future. Cool.
Sweet. Yes.
Okay.
Let's talk later.
So we're going to cut some foam now. So all we do is put a little teeny tiny bump of dubbing there. And I've got my thread right in the middle of it, because that's where I'm going to tie that foam down. If my thread is too far back, that foam is going to push down like so. So I want it to be right in the middle of that thread. So let's talk about cutting foam. Katie's got the perfect solution here for video wise. And you can always just get a long pair of scissors. And for your Instagram people, this is what scissors look like. You can get a long pair of scissors. You can get, just your regular craft scissors, whatever you want. We've even got a paper cutter. So if you're cutting a whole bunch at once, you can cut a paper cutter. But the easiest way that I've found to cut consistent strips is to, let me get rid of some of this stuff, is to use a metal ruler and one of these little spinny wheel Fiskars thing. And that's this right here for those of you all on Instagram. This little spinny wheel cutter, you just put you can measure it on, what is this called? A self-healing mat. You measure on there, whatever you want, and just set it down. And typically you want your width to be roughly the hook gap width, but remember, this is an extra large, extra wide gap, so we don't need it quite that big. So we just take our cutter, open her up, grab it, hold it straight up and down, and go like so. And now we've got a nice straight edge. And then when we do it again, we just bring it over. And this one will do a little bit smaller because next one's going to be a 16, so about right there. And cut it like that. So Easy to do. If it doesn't come up, just recut it and you're good. So easy way to cut and really inexpensive. You don't have to have an actual ruler, just something metal that this cutter's not gonna cut on. I think that's like $10 or so. And I've used this one for a few years and it's not dull enough to notice. So either scissors and just cut it off, and probably half the time when I'm just tying one or two, I'll just cut it out, or one of these cutters. Now, if you want to be all super fancy, you can get the River Road Creations. I don't know why the chat thing's not working. That's okay. You can get these River Road Creations. And here is the Chubby Chernobyl set. And someone, it's still hot in Sevier County. It is hot in Sevier County. You're right, Al. Someone can probably tell me what shape this one is. It's just like a U is all it is. I don't know if it's not the beaver tail, but this was the first set that I ever got because I was told it was the most versatile, and I completely 100% agree. Here is the official Chubby Chernobyl set, and it's basically just an oval. And if I look, like that's way too big, I'd use a smaller one, and that's way too long. I guess I could cut off the front, but if I'm going to cut off the front anyway, then you can always just use this one. So I personally don't use the Chubby Chernobyl set very often. And Jen, I'm sorry, we're on YouTube right now, so if you can come and join us on YouTube, we've got multiple cameras, but these are the River Road Creations things that I'm showing right now on the other camera. But ask away if I look down and see you want to see something, let me know. But so the other way to cut it is to grab your cutter, put it right here on the mat that comes with the cutter, and you just push down. And the key is to push until you can pull the foam away. And as you can see, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do, but there we go. You can have a nice consistent foam body every single time. No problem. And as Jeff says, voila. Craft store goodies. That's right, John. You're welcome, Jen. And I'll just get on. The link is in our description, blah, blah, blah. But just get on YouTube and search for Demuth Fly Tying, and we're right there. So for this one, we'll start off with the one we just did. It's got a nice little bottom. The nice thing when you do cut them is then you can do points. You can trot around it, but I ended up cutting about half of it off, trying to get it perfectly round and spend way too much time. So as opposed to that, I would suggest just doing this and cutting a little something like that in there for the back of the tail. So, all right. So why does this spin on the hook shank? And the main reason is either your materials are spinning as well, so you don't have a good solid base. You're not tightening up your thread, so we don't have it secured. But most importantly, it's just not locked in. So if you want to, you could put some glue on here, and that's no big deal. I think those round cutters are the Hopper Ant ones. The other one definitely is the Chubby set for sure, Dawn. But these might be the Hopper sets. You might be correct on that Hopper Ant set. But so now I'm gonna take my foam and put it halfway in between the two, because I want, when the fly looks at this from the bottom, I want them to see just a little bit of the sun or whatever coming through, and it just catches that just a pinch. So when I do this, I want to make sure that my thread goes straight up and straight down, and I'm not bringing it at any angles or anything, which isn't really that big a deal. So I've got my foam sitting here, and it's canted towards me, if that makes sense. Bring it straight up and straight down, slowly begin to tighten up, and do another wrap and tighten the rest of the way up. And I'm going to hold this foam like so and tighten up really good and do one more wrap.
Canted is a fancy word.
canted. Thank you. I try. I really try. And I'm waiting on Freddie to ask the question that he asked earlier, but we'll wait on him to ask.
How do you
So
pronounce?
if you can, yeah, we'll wait on him to ask. But so if you can notice right here, see where our thread is? It's behind that ball. So I'm going to redo it because I want that to be right on top of the ball. Told you that was a mistake people made, and I just did it. So you can see the difference there. Now my wing and my tail and everything's going up. So I've got 3 wraps here. Now for me, this is kind of an important step because when I pull on this, it doesn't go anywhere, so I've got it lashed down. But a lot of times when you pull on it, I'm pulling just about hard enough where this thread's about to break. But a lot of times when you keep pulling and I keep putting wraps on, the material on top will start rotating. So if I'll just pull this up before I do anything else, pull this up, put a couple wraps and lock them in place and bring it back. Now that's locked in. So that's not going to go anywhere. And am I saying it's not going to spin ever? No. If you glue it with whatever super glue, it can spin. But that's locked in just fine, and I haven't had a reason to do really anything else with it. So
Sevierville.
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 What is it, honey?
Sevierville.
Sevierville. You're pronouncing it too much like a weather announcer, honey.
Sevierville. Well, I've never said it any other way than that, but you can say it other ways, like Sevierville.
You got to try now.
Sevierville.
Okay, so for our legs, we're going to just take one. This is the MFC. Pull the package out. So we got the Bard Sexy Floss copper brown small, and you can use, if you all ask, I'll grab some other ones next time on the next fly, and we can paint them up, do whatever. But I've got one leg and I haven't cut it. It's just one full length of the leg. I'm gonna set it right on top. It's folded over, set it right on top like so, and catch a loose wrap and then a kind of tighter wrap, but not super tight. Then just grab this and pull this down. Okay, grab the other one, pull it down like so. Bring this down like that. So they're both roughly in the same spot. Now I can pull that tight and put one more wrap in. You can kind of do a little bit more adjusting, but that it's going down a little bit. Fix it just a little bit. And I'm telling you, you can spend an eternity trying to get these bends and everything to go the perfect way. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Okay, so on one of the flies that I tied in the past week or so.
Flyforia says, I prefer the modest but classy floss.
Oh, yes, that's true. That is very, very true. Thank you.
Graham Jones, hey, we got a Sevier County over here in Arkansas. That's obviously the correct pronunciation.
Well, I tell you.
I agree. It's John Sevier, Sevierville, but Sevierville.
Sphere, B-U-L-L-E. So I'll depending on what you've got, this is the someone help me. The New Zealand strike indicator yarn. This is the New Zealand wool. That works great. You kind of have to prepare it a little bit so it's not too all out of the place. A lot of times I like using the poly yarn from Superfly. That's just like what I like using for prepare post material. And on this one, just for the fun of it, I'm going to switch it over. This is just regular old EP fibers because I had them sitting out as well. But the one we posted, this is the one we posted today, and this is the EP trigger point. Well, not EP trigger point. This is the poly yarn from Superfly. What's up, Trout Freak? Good to see you hopping on the old Instagram.
Oh, good, Fred. I'm glad you had a good time in Tennessee.
Heck yeah, he did. He was in Tennessee.
It's a pretty time of year. It's only going to get prettier at least till late November.
It'll definitely get prettier until it doesn't. That's a fact. Oh gosh, honey, your husband is so funny.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to bring my thread up between those legs, and I haven't cut that loop yet because it makes it easier to wrap my thread through. Just grab it, kind of a loose wrap here. We'll do the same thing. Do 2 wraps, let it loose, Just make sure it's positioned kind of where I want it, because I want it right there in the middle. And just pull down. Okay. And make sure we don't get that in there. We'll put one more wrap in there to kind of lock it in. And that's about it. So we want to have this folding back a bit. So we'll grab all the fibers, and then I'm only just doing the front one, but we don't want any of them going forward of it. Now use our bodkin and just kind of push that forward just a smidge. And bring it down around like so. That's 2 wraps there. So now we're good. Okay. So we've got that up. All right. So now we're back to our dubbing that we mixed a minute ago. So we're going to grab this, pull this out. And while I'm dubbing this up, I just want to thank everyone so much for subscribing to our brand new YouTube channel. It's new to us, and as you notice with Katie running around, or if you can see Katie running around, we're adding new things like her camera that the switching thing will be here next week. But we're trying to do everything. The mod. We're trying to do everything we can do to give you all a better experience, so you can ask good questions and see what we're doing.
Oh, and also one more time, congratulations to Chris Travato.
Chris Travato, congratulations.
Congratulations, Christopher. Chris.
Send us a note, or send Gary Barnes at GB Flies a note, and we'll get your gift certificate sent out to you. You'll be good to go. All right, so for the dubbing noodle, we're going to bring it down. I really want just one good wrap right there, and that should be fine. Got just enough there. Pull it up, and I'm going to do like a real thin layer here, making sure not to go too far. See how we're looking underneath, like so. And I need just a pinch.
Do we have a drought? John Collins wants to know.
It
No.
wasn't one before. Now we're pretty well set right now.
Yeah. How about you guys? You guys have a drought up there? We've had a good fair amount of rain this summer, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we have.
Okay, so now we're going to do the exact same thing. We'll bring that just a little bit, and we're going to bring this around to just behind the hook eye. So we got that area to finish this fly.
Oh, sorry, that should say Chris Travato, not Christ Travato.
Well, I think it is.
Chris
Yeah.
Travato. Let me respell that.
So we're going to come up and around, bring it kind of tight, and the rest of the way tight. When I tied that in, I pulled it towards me a little bit. So when I tightened it down, it made it straight. And you can see when I pull on it now, well, shucks, let me take one of them off. See, now it's kind of canting that way. So I'm holding it. Let's get rid of that leg. Holding it, making sure it's right where I want it. And I'll pull this up. I'll put just 2 or 3 wraps, maybe 4 right there. Do another couple wraps, and that's good. No big deal.
Looking good. You got a question here. What does that say?
Are you asking me? Because I can't see the questions.
Was your
Yeah.
laptop not working?
No, my laptop's not working. Yet another thing we'll figure out.
Swear Angler, we did have rain last night. We did.
We sure did.
Yep.
Now, you know what's hilarious? I can't find my piece of. Oh, it's right here. So we'll pull this same piece out here, and we're going to do the exact same thing we did, but I'm going to tie my legs in first, and the same again. So we'll take this, pull this, cut that off, put our ends together like so. And we're just going to loosely just lay it right here in the middle, and with a loose wrap, catch it 1, 2. And now we'll adjust the legs to right here on the side, right where we want them. Like that. Pull tight and give it another wrap. So now our legs are in there. It's looking good. Thank you, honey.
Yeah, your
Gary?
screen just timed out.
But I've turned it off to where, oh, is it not? Is it not on? Well, I'll just have to keep messing with it.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
So what's up, Ryan? Tell you the same thing I told everyone else. Come over on YouTube and watch it there. It's a lot easier to see, and you don't have to pay us the massive fees of whatever it is you got to pay with Instagram. Just kidding. You don't have to pay anything on Instagram either.
Tens of
dollars.
Tens of dollars.
That's right. Okay, so we've got this part done. We'll bring this over. We'll give it a couple good tight wraps here. And we'll show you kind of a cheat. And this is more like an indicator than anything else. If you want to, you can do the exact same thing we did. And that's just come over and bring it forward, tie that down. You can definitely do that. But I've got a piece of 2mm orange foam here, just a little thing, and it should be the same, if not smaller than the width of the black foam. I'm just going to cut just a small piece of that off, and I'm going to purposely tie it in long. So I pull this back, we'll set it right here, like so. And same thing, when you're tying foam in, I'll get so you can see a little better. When you're tying the foam in, you want your thread wraps to go straight up and down, okay? Because if you try to adjust it and you're crooked from this stage, then it'll just be crooked the whole time. So then we're going to pull this tight, bring another one, kind of straighten everything up, make sure it's correct and aligned right, and lock it in. So you see I've got that, that little bump there. Now we're going to go back to our dubbing, pull out a piece with a little bit more flash in it, and I just need a small, thin noodle. It might be a little bit too big, but we can take it off. So we'll look underneath, make sure we're good. Bring this back. Like that. Yep. So what I'm looking at right now is my eye. When I look underneath it, you can see there. So what I really just filled in the spot underneath my tie-in point here. And that's the eye. So I haven't figured out my YouTube, so I can still enter. Yes, you can. You're doing good. Thank you, Ryan. All right, so now we'll just put a couple, 2, 3 wraps here to make sure everything's locked off, and we've got it. So we'll whip finish just like we always do. Pull out little Sally Hansen's. Make sure that drip right there does not go into your nozzle. That is a bad day. I'm sure no one's ever had that happen before.
Make sure your whip finish tool isn't all tangled up in your fly tying materials.
Oh, honey.
Just saying.
Yes. All right. So I've got that popped in there. Now we'll make sure everything's nice and good. And we'll look at the front, and we'll cut this off roughly like that. That looks good.
The foam cutting is so satisfying.
Oh my gosh, honey, you don't even understand. So even bump the couch a little bit too. John Collins, yes, no. Thank you, Swery Angler, for clearing that up. So when I'm trimming the sides off, for a long time, I would come in at this angle and try to trim the sides off. Come in from the side. If you will take your scissors, and we'll act like we're looking down on it, and you'll just put them like this and cut that way. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that cuts so much easier than like I'm just going to have my scissors going straight up and down and cut, just knock off the corners. And it's just easier to get a nice rounded top there. I'm going to cut this off pretty close like that. It's not perfectly straight, so I'm going to cut it again and probably mess it up. That'll work. Now we're going to cut our leg like that. Cut our other leg like that. And we'll pull all this up. Now for the wings, if you want to, if you're going to make them to where they go back, if you want to cut them, if you want to pull them straight up. So if you want to, you can just pull both of them straight up and cut them at the same angle. I like for there to be a slight, slight angle, so you can cut it like so, bring it down, and something like that. That's what I typically like. So that's your size 12 Stubby Chubby. Really easy. Let's get these cut too. Remember, when you're cutting your legs and material, try to cut long the first time. You can always go back and cut. That's looking fine. Get this one a little trim. And we can adjust these legs as we need to. Because the trout, when the legs aren't going the right way and they don't have the joints in the right section, may as well just
forget it. Just
forget it.
Put your rod up and go home.
Mm-hmm. So as you can see, we've got the body has a little bit of flash in it. That's what I want. It's very floaty. We've got our floaty wing, floaty foam, and our legs all over the place. So that is absolutely what we're going for. So I'll set this down. Now we're going to do the mini, which is this guy, which, you know what? It's a quicker tie. It's quicker than what we just did, and that's exactly what we're wanting. Because we're running out of the time. All right. So the hook is this Umpqua XT050 Stubby T hook right here. There we go. Perfect. And Katie, while I am dressing, well, we'll wait till the end. We're going to do another little giveaway next week for these. So tie your variation of the Stubby Chubby. We'll just make a Chubby Chernobyl. It's fine. Your variation of that. And Katie will talk about it here in a few minutes.
Type your chubby fly.
Type your chubby. And we'll pull this around. So all I'm doing is just, slightly open wraps. When I break this off, it collapses them together. So I've got a nice thread base on my hook. Open spiral wraps all the way to the front. So my hook is completely covered with thread. I'm going to do the same thing. Just a couple turns off the Fluorobright. Let's hit this one more time. And we'll take this, bring it around. Now this I do still use for total strand. So this is one piece cut in half. Bring it around like so. Bring it like so. It's right there on top of the hook shank. And I'm just holding it on top slightly towards me. So when my thread hits it, it makes it perfect on there. And we've got our 4 pieces. It's the same thickness, but when I go like this, it's a lot shorter than that last one. And I just hit it. Like I said earlier, if you want to use Fluorobright, that's not Fluorobright. What's the word I'm thinking of? Some other kind of fluorescent floss. Glow Bright. If you want to use Glow Bright, that's totally fine. Now for the crystal flash, I'm just going to use 1 piece versus on the 16 I use 2. I feel like it can kind of get overwhelming on the small fly. Now this would be really good, this particular fly. And I've got 1 piece cut in half. I'm doing the exact same thing. I feel like this would be a good, really good fly when you're Euro nymphing and you want to switch over and do a dry dropper Euro nymphing, because this is not a very obnoxious, this size anyway is not very obnoxious. If you clipped off your dropper or your tag fly off of your Euro rot rig and tied this on, then you'd have 1 dropper, and here we go. You'd have 1 dropper and you're dry. So that's a pretty cool way to do it. So, all right. So now we've got our crystal flash on there, and we've got our Glow Bright or our Fluorobright on there. And we're going to go back to our dubbing to build our little ball. And I might have to mix up a little bit more in a minute, but we'll just see. The thing I don't want is foam in my dubbing. That usually doesn't work too well. Now we'll bring our thread back to the rear. So it starts right there. And we'll build a little ball. Now remember earlier I said you got to be careful not to make it too long, and the smaller the fly is, the harder it is. So my my thread is going right here, right in the middle of this ball. So if you can imagine, if this was a size 8 or a 6, that ball could be huge. But in this case, it's about the size of a 2.5 millimeter tungsten bead. So it's kind of small. And we're going to grab a piece of the foam that we cut just a minute ago with our razor blade. And we'll just set it. Let's do cut like a little slice like that. Slice like that. Pull it off. So we've got the little doodad cut in there. Looks cool. So we'll set it on there like so. Bring it towards me. Straight, straight. Pull tight. We'll make sure that my thread is on that ball, not slipped off, because that first time it did slip off. And I'm going to pull this. This is an important step, locking it in. Because now when I put these next two in and I pull tight, it's locked. I don't need that much, so I'm going to cut a bit of that off. So you see what we've done there. And now all we're going to do is dub the body. Because this is a size 16, I won't say there's not enough room, but there's really not enough room to, you just don't need all the legs. You can put the legs on there. You just don't need tons and tons of legs and wings and everything on this short of a fly.
And there's not a lot of room, so you don't want to crowd the hook eye.
That's right. Plenty of dubbing. So I'm just kind of looking under here to make sure that my body's smooth and there's no like low spots or anything. That looks fine. I'm going to cram just a bit behind there and then go back up to right here. So you see how we've got a nice, somewhat even body, underbody. So when the fish looks from underneath, you'll see a little bit of sparkle in the tail. Got that little bit of a the hot spot right here. And we've got the foam. Now we're doing, like I said, this is a lot easier swallowtail head. There you go. This will be the swallowtail version of the Mini Stubby Chubby.
A swallow.
Tied in tight. Put a couple locking in front. Do another one. Now, since we're just going to have one set of legs, if you want to do two sets, and you can do this on the big one too, we're going to do the same thing we did before, but we're going to cut this off. Loop this over. Now we have two legs on either side. Pinch this, set it down, a loose wrap, two loose wraps, grab my legs, pull two to one side, two to the other side. Make sure you grab the correct two, which right now I don't know if I've done. There, did not. And when it works good. When it doesn't, well, it doesn't. All right. So now we've got two. We'll have four legs on either side. Ways back, we'll give it one more nice little locking wrap, and that's good. So let's see. We'll look at it from front and
Is
back.
that an African swallow?
Ooh.
Oh wait, no, Nathaniel. Fly 4 already called that one. Is that an African swallow? Anytime somebody says swallow, I can't help but think of that.
Well, you guys are too highfalutin for me. Okay, so we're going to take the same fiber here, pull it around.
Riley, I love foam too. I love foam.
So we've got that tied in just like that. Katie loves it.
I do.
I'm not like the biggest fan, but I do like, there are some patterns I do love that are foam patterns. This is just one that I was cringing when I bought.
It's just such a great idea.
Like when we were in, I felt kind of odd, but when we were in Maine, we bought flies from All Points Fly Shop in Maine. And we caught, because we were net fishing, we were brook trout fishing, and we got stuck at the airport. So we went, as you should do in Maine, we went striper fishing as opposed to sitting in the airport. And we had our nymphing rods with us, so we grabbed some a pack of leaders, a pack of either 0 or 1X 10-foot leaders, and 3 or 4 Clousers. It was like $50. I'm like, dude, Clousers is kind of like my jam, dog. And now I got to pay $50 for Clousers. But
it paid off.
It was
because you
worth
caught
every
a
penny
striper on my rod,
on your rod. That's right.
which was not really a rod for striper fishing
No,
at all.
it's your. Well, obviously it was.
Well, evidently.
Okay, so we're gonna do the same thing with this, but this time we use 0.1 millimeter or 1 millimeter foam. So I'm gonna set this right here. I just like doing it this way better. Maybe you don't. If that's the case, do a little bump. Not a big deal. Put a couple wraps here. Make sure it's all on top. Pull tight. Go ahead and give it a wrap or 2 behind the eye so it's locked. Straighten everything up. Make sure it's good. And we're going to, and you see how by leaving these the legs like so, will make it easier to keep them out of the way. So we got that done. Looking fine. Now we'll put just a pinch or dubbing on.
Just a little bit.
And so when it does that, you just want to come up, pull tight, pull this around, give it 2 or 3 wraps behind the eye. So now when I pull, see the hook's bending or flexing, it's not spinning the material. And that's exactly, if your material spins when you've got your thread on there, that's when you need to add a thread wrap or so, a locking wrap in. So I just got a nice little thin noodle here. It's got the eye stub and the the fine dubbing on. I'll bring it around, make sure I'm not catching anything too serious. Pull this up. Okay. Pull this around. I want to do the same thing. Pull out our pull out this, and we'll do a quick little whip finish. This will be our mini. Unless I forgot something, Gary. I haven't seen. What's up, Greg? I haven't seen Gary tell me I forgot anything in the past little bit, so that's a good sign.
Oh, he's been, he's just kind of been laying low. He's there, hanging out.
He's been
I mean,
incognito.
you remembered your legs, so
He was like rock star this
you
week.
got your legs on there.
I'm telling you what, he was working it. All right, so I'm gonna pull this off. So now we've got all our legs going everywhere, right, everything up real nicely, like so.
He said you haven't forgotten anything,
Oh, I've forgotten plenty.
but Jeff says he's always watching.
Yeah. All right, so we got that like that. Same thing, kind of come up from the bottom, trim like that, trim like that, come out a little bit more.
Nice.
And let's log in here again. Yet another thing we'll have to figure out. Cool. So we've got that part done. So now we'll just get our scissors out, and once again, this is just
What's the name of the
personal
stuff you used for the wing again?
a lot of times I'll use the New Zealand strike indicator material. The one we posted today, I use the poly yarn, this jazz right here.
Okay.
This is just some EP trigger point fibers that I don't have the pack for, but it's this right here. So just trigger point fibers. You can use lots of different materials, but make sure it's floaty stuff like sparkle or merger yarn. You can load it up with an Antron. You can load up with floating, but that stuff's designed to not just to not be a floating thing. You want more of a Zelon. You want a material that's designed to float, and it will. Sometimes it's pre-treated. You can use the EP trigger point fibers. That's some expensive stuff that they say is pre-treated, but who knows? We'll grab this little piece here and cut it close. So we've got that done just like that. And I'm going to unhook this, pull out my longer scissors, try to fan it out just a bit.
And even though this is called a chubby stubby, or is it stubby chubby? I get it confused.
Dude, right now with my computer flipping off, I can't.
I think it's a mini stubby chubby.
Mini Stubby Chubby, but Umpqua sent me a note today, and they're like, What are you calling it mini?" I'm like, "Cause I'm tying it really small, and the size 12 is not mini, but the size 16 will be, and tying it just a little bit different." I apologize for taking liberties with your flies, and they said, "No, it's cool, it's fine." So,
But it's not for catching chubs.
no, but it does catch chubs.
But yeah,
I guess
it does
we haven't caught it. The reason it's a this one's purdy. The reason it's a stubby is because of the hook, the stubby T. And if you don't have a stubby T, use whatever hook you want to.